Kashyapa and Moggallana were King Dattusana's two sons. Kashyapa, though the elder, wasn't the rightful heir to the throne of Ceylon, being born to one of the king's lesser wives. Moggallana, the younger son, was the queen's child and therefore the heir apparent. Megaera held a ministerial position in the king's court and was hitched to Datthusana's daughter. Now, here's the kicker, Megaera's mum was Sunga, the king's own sister. Turns out, it was a good old-fashioned cousin marriage. There could have easily been a right royal rumble for the throne between the two brothers. One day, it so happened that Sunga mistreated her daughter-in-law, or perhaps her niece. The king, upon hearing this, flew into a rage. He summoned Sunga and grilled her about it. Megaera, in the midst of the commotion, had already bolted from the palace. As things stood, the king could have well roasted Sunga alive for such a serious offense. Megaera caught wind of his mother's heartbreaking demise. Time marched on, and Kashyapa seized the throne through a coup. Moggallana hightailed it to India. Megaera then entered the service of King Kashyapa I, or Sigiri Kashyapa. Datthusana stepped down, but Megaera harbored a secret desire for revenge against the old king. As time marched on, Chatha, now known as Sigiriya, transformed into a fortress and a living art gallery. Then one day, word reached Kashyapa that Moggallana was headed his way from India with an army in tow, so Sigiriya braced for a showdown. War was in the air. The fateful day dawned. Kashyapa received word that Moggallana had laid siege to his stronghold. And so, Kashyapa rode out to war against Moggallana. The two leaders, each atop a war elephant, faced one another as their armies clashed behind them. When Kashyapa's elephant charged, it lost its footing in the mud. The elephant faltered, and Kashyapa's army, thinking their king was on the run, scattered like leaves in the wind. Seeing his army routed and in full retreat, Kashyapa took his own life, slitting his throat in disgrace. Kashyapa took his own life in 495 AD. Moggallana, with all due respect, cremated his brother and then hightailed it to the old capital, Anuradhapura, to take the reins. He turned Sigiriya over to the Mahayana monks, and for the next couple of centuries, it was their stomping ground. Some eggheads reckon that Kashyapa, being an artsy king, likely didn't off his dad or meet a tragic end. The Mahavamsa, or the Sri Lankan Chronicles, kicked off during King Datthusana's reign, but his story wasn't penned until the 13th century AD. Maybe the writers got their facts wrong, or perhaps the storyteller spun a yarn on purpose. And it was entirely possible that misinformation had been doing the rounds in the society for 7 whole centuries. It's not beyond the pale that this artsy king didn't off his own dad. But who's to say for sure, eh? By the 13th century, Sigiriya buzzed with thinkers, royalty, clerics, and warriors who, for kicks, scribbled graffiti all over the exquisite paintings of the ladies. Sigiriya, or Lion Rock, stands as a silent witness, perhaps privy to every twist of fate fueled by love, vengeance, and bitter rivalries that unfolded across its face.